Luangpu see the atmosphere this morning. So it's likely that Bangkok will be more chaotic than the temple. We need to practice our mind skillfully. To practice Dhamma is not to do it in the temple. Whenever you breathe, you need to practice. You need to practice like that. As long as you can breathe, you can practice. Some people told Luangpu Dun that they don't have time to practice. Luangpu Dun replied, if you have time to breathe, you have time to practice. Breathe with mindfulness of the body and mind. You get samadhi to breathe and be aware. You get the initial wisdom to see the body as the three characteristics. You get the vipassana wisdom. So breathing, you can do many ways. Normally, people waste their breaths, die wastefully, because every breath that we take, our life is shortened by each breath. For normal people, they waste their breaths. It's useless. Breathe and be aware. If you want to be calm, you can put your mind at the breath. Let the mind be with the breath, and then practice regardless of whether it's calm. It's okay. It will be calm over time. The reason that the mind is not calm is because it runs here and there as to the different sense objects. If you want it to be calm, you need to place it with a single object. You can use any kind of meditation objects. It's the same. You need to grasp at the principle, and you can use any meditation tools. I began with using anapanasati. Anapanasati or breathing meditation can be used for calmness meditation. Over time, you see the body and the mind as separate. This is the initial stages of wisdom. This is separating the aggregates or the body and mind. And then you see later on that it is subjected to the three characteristics, not just thinking but seeing it. But if you think, that is not really vipassana. It's just the initial. Need to keep practicing. If you want to practice vipassana, when you breathe, you see the body breathing, changing all the time. Breathing in, breathing out. Why does it need to change from breathing in, breathing out? Because the body is being forced to change at every breath. If you breathe in for a while, then it suffers, so you need to breathe out. If you breathe out for a while, the body suffers, so you need to breathe in to eradicate, to reduce, alleviate the suffering. So if you keep observing this, then you will see that the body is full of suffering at every breath. The mind that sees this body breathing, sometimes it sees the body, sometimes it sinks into the breath and becomes calmness meditation, or sometimes the mind runs away thinking about something else. So by just observing the breath, sometimes it is calmness meditation, sometimes it is vipassana meditation, seeing the truth of the body and mind. You're doing this, you see the truth of the body and mind, including the mind that knows the body breathing. Sometimes it is just an observer. the body changing. This is vipassana. But in a while, the mind stops looking at the three characteristics and become immersed in the breath, and so the mind switches from vipassana to samatha. Or sometimes when you sit and you see the body breathing, and the body is breathing by itself, is being forced to change elements flowing in, flowing out. You are doing vipassana, but then suddenly you think about something else. If you practice, you will not only see the truth of the body, you will also see the truth of the mind. So to do awareness of the body or awareness of the breath, you will see both the body and the mind, so you can become enlightened. Similarly to how you practice Vedananupassana or Cittanupassana, the foundation of mindfulness of the mind and the sensation. Because when you look at the mind, and the body sensation, when there are wholesomeness and unwholesomeness, the awareness is the mind, and the mind is also showing through three characteristics. Sometimes it is vipassana, sometimes it is samatha, sometimes it is wandering away. So when you do mindfulness of the body, using mindfulness of the breath, and the mind becomes calm with the breath, you are doing samatha, calmness meditation. If you see the body separate, the mind and body as separate, this is called the initial stages of wisdom. And if you see that the body breathing is to alleviate suffering, suffering is squeezing the body all the time, this is vipassana. Or if you breathe and the mind sees, can see with wisdom that breathing in, breathing out is just like elements flowing in, flowing out within the body. This breath element, air element coming in, coming out. The body are just elements. If you can see this with impartial mind, then this is vipassana. But if you think, then it's just thinking. It's initial stages of wisdom. If you can grasp the principles of practice, you can practice in many different ways. And when you do calmness meditation, the mind can become vipassana. When you do vipassana, it can become calmness meditation. You just need to keep being aware, be aware, do the breathing meditation, breathe in and out with wisdom. You see it being changed all the time, being forced to change. The body breathe in and out to elevate the suffering. The body is just elements flowing in and out. Elements, elements flowing in and out. The elements changing is not me, you, he, she, it. Or if you can see it more carefully, you can see the fire element changing. When the breath comes into the body, it's cool. When it goes out, it's warmer. The breath is also changing. It has more fire element in it. When it comes in, it has low fire element, so it feels cool. When it goes out, it has more fire element, so it's warmer, because it increased the fire element. So if you do the element meditation by breathing alone, it also can let you do the element kasina meditation. Breathing meditation is quite comprehensive. This is just an example, but you can use other meditation objects. Like if you are aware of the body postures, the body moving, when you see The reason for the body moving is because it suffers. When you sit for a long time, it suffers, so you need to move. When you sit on the chair, at first it is comfortable, but after a while, you suffer, so you need to move the body to alleviate the pain. The body that stands, lay down, also impermanent. The body that moves also impermanent. Like the runners on the treadmill, you keep running, but after a while you cannot run further because you cannot run all the time. The body suffers too much. So you need to change the postures from running to sitting and resting. Observe, see the body moving and being still. You see that the body is impermanent, being forced to change. And so, if your wisdom is adequate, you can see the body moving, that is just elements moving in and out, changing in and out. It's just elements moving. It's just the body, not you. If you lift your hand, you feel most people will say, I'm lifting my hand. But if you are a practitioner, you see the elements are moving and the mind is knowing. The form of the arm never tells you that it is you. It doesn't speak, it doesn't know how to speak, but it is the mind that likes to claim that it is your arm, your body. It's the thinking mind. But if your mind is stable in knowing, see the body, the elements flowing, moving, and the mind is being aware. Or when you sit meditation for a long time and pain starts to creep into your legs, you see that the legs doesn't feel pain, but pain has infiltrated the leg. By practicing the four postures, you can already see that the body is full of suffering. Do anything, any posture for a long time, you suffer. Breathing in and out is suffering, always changing. Even if you move all the time, after a while you suffer. If you have the mindfulness with the the full postures, the moving body, you see that it's full of suffering, ever changing element. It is not me, you, he, she, it. If you can just see the body, but if you walk meditation, you see walking meditation, and the mind is fixated on the feet. You move the left, right, move, or if you see the stomach expanding and contracting, and the mind goes into the feet or into the stomach, then the mind is focused on those two objects. At most, you can get the calmness meditation, but worse than that, you get self-torture, you get tension from walking and looking at your stomach, and you wonder, when will you get wisdom, when you will get goodness. You you have greed. At the time you don't practice, even though you're walking, because your mind is wandered. Your mind is frustrated when it will become enlightened like others. When you walk meditation, your mind wanders away. It sinks with the defilements. This is not good. When you walk meditation, the mind wanders away, you are aware. Or if you see the mind with the stomach, it doesn't wander away. It gets calmness meditation in the walking posture. Be aware of the same object for consistent time. Another person, he sees walk the body walking and the mind is separate. He can separate out the aggregates. Another person can see the body as non-self. It is just elements. It is being squeezed by suffering. It is ever changing. The form is showing the three characteristics. He is practicing vipassana. At the same time, when he practices vipassana, the mind is observing. Sometimes it becomes the samatha, or as it focuses on the form, or sometimes it is scatters to think when it will be calm. This is already of the practice as is thinking. Sometimes it is stable in knowing the three characteristics of the body. This is the mind that is practicing vipassana. When you see the body, when you walk, but you don't see the body because the mind is scattered. Sometimes when you fix, sometimes you get calmness meditation because it fixates with the body. Sometimes you get vipassana because it is stable in knowing the three characteristics of the body. The determining factor is the quality of the mind, not the postures of the way you walk or way you sit. Even if you have the right postures, the that people think are good, but your mind is wandering away, then you're not practicing, regardless of how nice your posture is. It is not practicing. When you see the three characteristics from the breath, from the breathing, or from the four postures, and you can observe further. Once your mind is more stable, you can also see that the mind that goes to observe the body is also subjected to the three characteristics. Sometimes it's scattered away, sometimes it's overcome by desires, sometimes it gets calmness, it's doing calmness meditation, sometimes it is doing vipassana. So when you are mindfulness of the body, the mind keeps ever changing. So the mind itself is also under the three characteristics. So this is the answer on why some people can practice Kayanupassana and they can become enlightened because they can see that both the body and the mind are both fall under the three characteristics. So even if you see the sensation, you can also see the body and mind. The sensation in the body, you can see that the sensations with what, but it is not the body. It's just another phenomena that the mind can see. When the mind see the sensation on the body, you can see it separate. You can see that the mind is one part observing, and you can see the body as one part, and you can see the sensations within the body. So this is the separating out the three aggregates. And if you can see, and if you can see the three characteristics, then that is the perception aggregate, and then you get the vipassana wisdom. This also falls under the mental formation aggregate. You won't understand now, but one day you will understand. So you can do any practice and it can separate out all the aggregates. Keep practicing. Or if you don't like to see the body, when I was a kid, I practiced breathing meditation for 22 years. When I met Luangpu Dun, he told me to do Cittanupassana. So after that, for some time, I stopped doing breathing meditation because it's not as engaging for me as the mind. So I had calmness in observing the mind, but after, but can the mind sees the body when the mind that is happy arise when it comes into contact with the body, sound, taste, sight that it likes, then happiness appears. So happiness also is dependent on contact through the body, the five senses. are part of the body. The five senses, the body comes into contact with the outside and result in sensation, and the mind sees that the mind flutters along with the contact sensation. The sensation, contact give rise to sensation. Sensation give rise to happiness and sadness. The mind fabricates likes and dislikes, wholesomeness, unwholesomeness. This is the process, both the form and the formless process working together. But if you observe the mind at certain points and the body and mind disappear, that the body disappear, and there's only the mind, you can observe the mind. This is called vipassana in the formless meditation absorptions. And when you come out from that formless meditation absorption, the mind can see super clearly for the rest of your life that the body and mind are separate. So if you can observe the body and mind and it becomes a calmness meditation in the formless realm, and when it comes out from the formless realm, then it can see clearly that the body doesn't arise all the time. In the formless realm, there is no form. It only comes out, it only arises when the mind comes out from the formless realm. Just now I spoke about the mind that observes the body. The mind can wander away, the mind can be calm, the mind can be vipassana. So the mind that does vipassana, samatha, it can also wander away. It can be fixated on the painful sensation. It can be fixated on the happiness sensation. It can fixated on the neutral sensation. That is calmness meditation. But if you see the sensation and the mind changing, falling under the three characteristics, then this is vipassana. Or when you observe the mind, how does it become vipassana? You can see that the mind is wandering sometimes, fixating, knowing sometimes. You can wander away to the five senses, to the taste, body contact, etc., to thinking. You can also, the mind can also be fixated on the meditation object. There is only one knowing, but there's many types of wandering, and the mind is ever changing. Sometimes it wanders to look at the object. Sometimes it's become the knowing mind. Sometimes it wanders to the sound and the emptiness. It changes all the time. Or it can wander away for a long time. Or if you can become absorbed into the meditation object, the mind is showing you that it has many kinds of forms. The mind works in the five, six senses. The mind, you can see that the mind works in different ways. Seeing the mind can also be the wisdom of the three characteristics. You can see both the body and mind, because the mind always comes into contact with the body, comes into contact with the five sense contact. So the mind changes. So in the four foundations of mindfulness, regardless of which portion you use, the body mindfulness or sensation mindfulness or the mind mindfulness or Dhamma mindfulness, these four foundations, you see both the body and mind. By doing one foundation, you can do until you final liberation. Four foundations offer the path towards final liberation. You don't need to do each foundation one by one, but some people do four foundations. It's up to their unique personality. But if you don't do the four foundations, you can also achieve enlightenment. Some forest monks say that the body is the battleground for all the levels until Anakami, but the mind is the battlefield for the final liberation. When you practice and you observe the body, it will throw away the body in the end, and then it will come to the mind. So whatever comes into contact with the body, the mind becomes mindful of the mind. But for those people who do four foundations, like if you do the breathing meditation, you can do the four foundations of mindfulness. When you breathe in, breathe out, you have mindfulness of the breathing in, breathing out, the body, breathing in, breathing out. This is mindfulness of the body. The breath also under the mindfulness of the body. After a while, when the mind becomes unified and there is no more breath, it only becomes light, there is no more breath. There is rapture, there is bliss. The mind becomes unified with the light. This is vitok vichar or initial and sustained attention. And there is happiness. Then and the mind sees this is called mindfulness of the sensation. And after a while, you see the rapture and bliss. And as it is a burden for the mind let it go. The mind becomes unified with the mind. This is the mindfulness of the mind. And then you see the working process of the mind. This is mindfulness of the Dhamma. So by doing breathing meditation, you can practice all four foundations of mindfulness. Some monks, they do all four. Some monks, they just do one or two foundation. Some monks, they practice mindfulness of mind. It typically also include the mindfulness of the mental sensation. When you see your mind happy and sad, this is the two, like practicing two foundations of the mindfulness. Is it difficult? You say it's not difficult. This is the subconscious. This is difficult. Some people, they cannot get the awakened mind yet, but once your mind is awakened, then it is not easy. It is more difficult to awaken the mind. Why is not the mind awakened? Because it's always dreaming. Can you see that now? At this moment, you are dreaming. Have you ever slept and dreamt, and you are aware of your dream, and you are mindful within your dream? Pandit, a lay person there, nodded her head. It's quite strange. When you sleep, the mind changes. Sometimes it goes into deep sleep. Sometimes the mind can work while the body is asleep. This is when you dream. Most dreamers, they don't dream all the time. Sometimes it goes deep, but when it comes out, it can also dream. And after it comes out more, it's awakened. The body is awakened, but the mind is still dreaming. Some of you here, when you sit with bright eyes, I can count the person that is awakened in both body and mind. And those awakened in the mind are awakened once, not all the time. Sometimes they go dream. What is dream? When you awake, it's the thoughts, the thinking. Thinking is the dream of the awakened, of the state that you're not sleeping. When you are awake, when your body is awake, but your mind is thinking, then it's daydream. Have you ever heard? is thinking is called daydreaming. The dreamer, you are
รู้สึกไหม
dreamer.
จิตหลงไปอยู่ในโลกของความคิด
And you see that
จิต
your
หลงไป
mind
อยู่
is
ใน
in
โล
the
กของ
realm
ความ
of
คิดเมื่อไหร่
thoughts.
เรากำลังฝันอ
Whenever
ยู่
you are in the realm of
เมื่อเรา
thoughts,
ฝัน
you
อยู่
are
เรายังไม่ได้ตื่
dreaming.
นนะ
When you are dreaming,
ร่าง
you
กายเรา
are
ตื่น
not
นะไปไหนมา
awakened.
เดินไปเดินมา
Perhaps
แต่
your body is
แต่จิตเราอ
awakened
ยู่ใน
and
โล
it
กของ
can
ความ
move,
คิดความฝัน
but
ยั
your
งไม่ตื่น
mind
ออกมา
is in the realm of dreaming. It's not
กว่า
awakened
จิต
yet.
จะตื่นออกมาได้นะ
Until the mind
ไม่
becomes
ใช่เรื่องง่าย
awakened, it's not easy.
ไม่ใช่เรื่องง่ายนะ
It's
ต้องสั่
not
งสมมา
easy.
นาน
You need to accumulate.
เจ้าชายสิทธัตถะนะตอนท่านเล็
The
ก
Prince
ๆเล็กมาก
Siddhartha, when he was young,
ๆในวันที่มี
very
พิธีแร
young,
กหนักกว่านะ
when there was a
ท่านนั่งอยู่
farming
คนเดียวตาม
ceremony,
ลำพังใต้ต้น
he sat
หิ
alone
มะ
by
หรือต้นอะไรจำไม่
himself
ได้แล้ว
under the wa tree
นั่
or
งอยู่
some
คนเดียว
tree, and
แล้ว
he
บาร
sat
มี
there
ท่านเต็ม
by
ท่าน
himself,
สะ
and
สมมา
his
แล้วชาตินี้ชาติสุด
wholesomeness
ท้าย
factors are full
แทน
because
ที่
this
ท่านจะ
was
นั่ง
his
เรื่อยเปื่
last
อย
life.
ชมนกชมไม้
Rather
พวก
than
เราไปนั่งใต้ต้นไม้
daydreaming
สมมติไปนั่งใต้
under
ต้
the
นซากุ
tree,
ระจะรู้สึกไง
many of you will
เรา
daydream.
เคยนั่งก็จะ
Well,
รู้
how
สึ
do
ก
you feel
ตั
when
ว
you
จะ
go
ลง
sit
มา
under the sakura tree?
นอนเทียบเลยนะ
You some maybe think
ถ้าดู
will
แต่
the
รูป
worms
สวย
come down?
น่าเพลิดเพลิน
If you look at the form of the tree, then it's nice.
ถ้าเป็นพวกเราเห็นไหมไปนั่งใต้
If
ต้นไม้
you
สบาย
go
ๆ
sit under the
ก็เพลิน
tree, most of you will
ฝันอะไร
daydream.
ฝันกลางวันอีกแล้วคิดโน้นคิดนี่เพลิน
Think about this and that.
เจ้าชายสิทธัตถะบารมี
But
เต็
the
ม
Prince Siddhartha, his
นั่งอยู่ใต้ต้นไม้นะ
wholesomeness
ไม่มีอะไร
factors are
ทำไม่สน
full.
ใจอะไร
He
ดู
didn't
หาย
have
ใจ
anything to do, so he
หาย
just
ใจ
breathed.
เข้ารู้สึกหายใจออก
See,
รู้สึกนะในสุดจิต
be
รวม
aware of the breathing
ใน
in,
ปฐม
breathing
ฌาน
out until his
จิตใน
mind
ปฐมฌา
unified
น
and got the first
จิตร่มเย็น
meditation
เป็นสุขนะ
absorption.
แดด
His
ออกแด
mind,
ดออกอะไรแดดส่องอะไร
his
ไม่เดือด
mind
ร้อน
was
อาต
blissful
มา
and
บอก
calm.
แดดไม่ส่องเลย
Even
แด
if
ด
the
ไม่
sun
ถูกต้น
shine,
เล
he
ย
doesn't
ต้นไม้ต้นใหม่
feel
ก็ไม่ถูกแล้วนะ
the sun.
หรือบาง
The
ที
scriptures
จิต
say
ท่านร
that
วม
the
ลงไป
sun
นะ
doesn't
โดน
contact
แดด
his
นิด
body,
ๆหน่อยๆท่านก็ไม่รู้สึกหรอก
or if his
ก็ถือ
mind
ว่า
is unified,
เป็นบุ
he
ญ
won't
นะ
feel the sun.
ตำรา
This
บอก
is
ว่า
his
พระอาทิตย์เคลื่อน
merit.
ไปนะเงาของต้นไม้ก็ยังอยู่ที่ตัวท่าน
The the
จิตท่านร
scripture
วม
says that the sun
อันเนี้ย
move,
ท่าน
but the
ท่าน
shadow
ทำส
is
มาธิ
the
คือ
same.
จิตตั้งมั่นนะจิตตั้ง
So
มั่นแล้วตอน
he
เจ้าชาย
did
สิทธัต
the
ถะ
right
อายุ 29
meditation, the
นะ
meditation
ออก
of the
ออกจากวัง
stable
เนี่ยจะหนีออกจาก
knowing.
วังหรือเปล่าไม่รู้
And later
เพราะว่า
on,
ตำรา
when the
ไม่
prince
เหมือน
grew
กัน
up and he
บางตำ
wanted,
ราก็บอกว่าท่านหนี
he
ออกไป
escaped from the
บางตำรา
palace.
บอกท่าน
Some
ออกมา
scriptures
ทั้งที่
say that he
พ่อแม่
escaped.
น้ำ
Some
ตาหนองหน้าท่านใจเด็ดออก
some
มาแล้ว
scriptures say that
ก็ยัง
his
ทำตาม
parents
กันบ้าน
were
ไม่ได้ตำรา
tearful and
ไม่
awake
ตรงกัน
when he left.
แต่รวมความ
So
คือ
the
ท่านออก
different
จาก
scriptures are not aligned, but
สละความสุข
the
ทางโลก
bottom line is he left the
สิ่งแรกที่ท่าน
palace
ทำ
and let go
ก็
of
คื
the
อไปหา
worldly
ฤาษี
pleasures.
นั่งสมาธิ
The first
พวกเรารู้สึกไหม
thing he did
ไป
was
คิด
to
ถึง
go
การปฏิ
see
บัติ
the
เมื่อไหร่ต้องนั่งสมาธิ
ascetics
เนี่ยเจ้าชายสิทธัตถะก็
because
คิดอย่างนั้นนะ
most people
พอ
are
ท่าน
like
ไปนั่งส
him
มาธิก็
when
ฤา
they
ษี
think
ท่าน
about
เคลิ้ม
practice
สบาย
they
พอ
think
ออกจาก
about
กรรม
those
ฐานออกจากสมา
ascetics
ธิมากิเลสก็เหมือนเดิม
so
ทุกข์เหมือน
the
เดิม
ascetics
ก็
they
รู้ว่าไม่ใช่
do
ทาง
calmness
นี่ก็ไปแสวง
meditation
หา
when
ไป
the
นั่ง
mind
ทรมาน
becomes
ร่างกาย
calm
แล้ว
is
มันก็ไม่
happy
ใช่
but
ทา
when
ง
it comes out from
สุ
the
ดท้ายท่านก็
meditation
นึก
it's
ถึง
not
กร
happy
รมฐานที่
and
ท่าน
then
ได้
he
สอน
went
ทุ
to
กอย่าง
do
มันเป็นสมุ
ascetics
มี
who
แค่สอง
torture
ทาง
their
เท่านั้น
body and it didn't
ท่า
work
นระลึกถึงกรรม
and
ฐาน
then
อัน
he
นี้ได้
recollect
เป็น
that
กร
when
รม
he
ฐาน
was
ส
young
ติ
he did a
อีก
different
ครั้งนี้
form
ทำ
of
อนาปานสติ
meditation
ไม่เหมือนของฤาษี
so
ฤาษี
he
ทำแล้วจิตจะไปเพ่งอารมณ์
redo
ท่า
the
น
breathing
ทำด้วยความมีส
meditation
ติ
but not like
หาย
the
ใจออก
ascetics
มีสติหาย
he
ใจเข้า
didn't
มีสติ
fixate on
แต่
the
ท่าน
breath
จิตรวมเข้าไป
but
ฌานที่สี่
he became
พอฌาน
aware
ที่
of
สี่
the
แล้วท่าน
breathing
พิจารณา
with mindfulness
อานุปัสส
until
นา
that
สติปัฏ
mind
ฐาน
becomes
ท่าน
unified
เห็นสภาวะ
until
นะ
he
ไม่ใช่ท่านคิดเอาเอง
achieved the
ต้องเห็น
meditation
สภา
fourth
วะไม่งั้นลากกิเลสไม่
meditation
ได้จริง
absorption and
พระ
then
พุทธเจ้า
he
ท่านบอกว่า
used
สติ
that
ปัฏ
to
ฐานเป็นทาง
see
สายเอกเป็นทาง
the
สายเดียวเพื่อความบริสุทธิ์หลุดพ้น
mindfulness, the
บางคน
the
บอกว่า
wisdom,
ผู้
three
ที่เห็นสิ่งก็
characteristics.
บรรลุถ้างั้น
Some
การบรรลุก็
people
เลยมีสองแบบ
wisdom
ผู้
here
ที่ป
is
ฏิบัติธรรมแบบ
seeing,
หันนั่งคิด
it's not
ไม่ใช่
thinking. Some
เพราะ
people
ท่าน
claim
ยืน
that
ยันว่า
he's
มีทาง
thinking,
เดียว
but
ต้อง
no,
ทำสติปัฏฐาน
there's
คือมี
only
ส
one
ติ
way. I
คือ
can
รับรู้รูป
guarantee
นามกายใจ
that
นั่นแหละ
it is mindfulness
แต่
of the
ท่าน
body and
เป็นคน
mind.
กลาง
the Buddha did Dhamma mindfulness. He saw the dependent origination. It covers both the form and the formless. The dependent origination is complex, but you don't need to do that. You can just be aware of the body and mind and be determined. Keep practicing how to awaken your mind. You cannot command the mind to be awakened. Like when you sleep, you cannot tell the body to wake up, even if you dream that you are waking, or sometimes you dream a lot. You think that you didn't sleep because you dreamt too much. But if your mind is aware that you're dreaming, then it's awakened. If you can dream of the anger, but you can be aware that, oh, you are angry, then it comes out from that dreaming state. So to come out from the dream is to be aware that you are dreaming. When we are dreaming, even our eyes are open. But if we are aware that we are dreaming, then we will be awakened. So practice, and when the mind wanders away to think about this and that, to dream, be aware that the mind is daydreaming, then the mind will be awakened. Keep practicing. Or you sometimes you have a meditation object and the mind wanders away and you are aware. Wanders away means you forget about your meditation object and then it wanders away and you are aware again, over and over again. After a while, you don't have the intention. It becomes aware by itself when the mind wanders away. This is called the awakened mind. When there is anger, at the time of anger, there is no one being aware of the angry mind. But when mindfulness arises, awareness arises, there is no anger because the knowing mind and the angry mind cannot coexist simultaneously. So if you are mindful of anger, the anger was just the recent past, and the knowing mind is the new mind. Until the point that some people they think that you can be aware and angry at the same time because the continuity of the mind is so rapid that you don't see the the breakage of the mind moments that flows in rapid continuity or santati. If the mind was angry and you know, then the current mind is knowing mind, is awakened mind. Or if the mind wanders, like you chant Putto, Putto, and your mind wanders away to think about something else. After 5 minutes, you realize you forget Putto and you come back to Putto and the mind wanders away. This time, 3 minutes, you see that the mind wanders away. It becomes faster and faster. Later on, 1 minute you are aware, or 1 second you are aware, or in the future, almost immediately, the mind wanders away, you are awakened and you are aware. So after a while, so the wholesomeness and unwholesomeness cannot coexist. If some people claim this, then it's wrong. It's contradict the teachings of the Buddha. It's just too difficult. Today is Maka. These 2 weeks I teach quite deep. Who is the cause? Each person's personality is different. Some people like Dhamma that is intense. When they listen to intense, it hits their wisdom. Some people needs to listen to Dhamma that is not intense. If it's too intense, then they lose their mindfulness. So sometimes I teach intense, sometimes I teach less intense to accommodate different kinds of personality. It's not just me. The Buddha also did the same. When the Buddha teaches, he will first contemplate which group or which group of people who he will teach, and he will tailor his approach to that person. The people who
คนที่ถู
listen
ก
will
ใจก็จะได้
understand,
ธรรมะ
but
ไปเลย
people who can
ใน
ถึง
เว
ใจ
ลา
ถึงใจ is
ที่พระพุ
to
ทธเจ้าท่านแสดงธรรมเนี่ย
understand
บุคค
deeply
ล
in
จะ
the
รู้สึก
mind,
ว่า
then
ท่านแส
they
ด
will
งธรรม
become
โด
enlightened.
ยเฉพาะ
So
เรา
when
เข้าใจมากขึ้น
when the
แต่
Buddha
จริง ๆ แล้ว
teaches,
ความ
everyone
หมายของท่าน
will
มี อย่าง
everyone
บางครั้ง
will
ท่าน
feel that
ต้องการ
the
พู
Buddha
ด
is
คนเนี้ย
teaching them, but
คนเดี
the
ยว ๆ ท่าน
Buddha
ก็เทศน์ไปเรื่อย ๆ ไม่
has
หยุด
his
นะ
target.
เทศน์ ๆ ท่าน
When
รอให้
even
คนนี้
when
มา
there's a big group, he
ถึง เว
will
ลา เทศน์ ท่านก็
just
เทศน์
teach
ไปเรื่อย
until this
พอ
person
คน
his
นี้มา ผู้
target
หญิงนี้
comes,
มา
and
ก็
when
เท
this
ศน์
target
นิด
comes,
เดียว
this
นะ ก็ได้โสดา
lady come,
พอเขาได้โสดา
the
ท่านหยุดเลย
Buddha
เลิกแล้ว วันนี้พอ
teaches
แล้ว
this, and
คล้าย
the lady
ๆ บรรลุ
becomes
เป้า
a
หมาย
stream
แล้ว
enterer.
ท่า
The
นทำงานไม่
Buddha
ได้ทำสเปะสปะ
stops
มั่ว ๆ นะ
his
รับ
sermon
ด้วยญาณ
because
ทั
he
ศนะ
has
ญาณ
achieved
ของ
his
แท้
target for the day.
วันนี้จะโปร
The
ดใคร
Buddha teaches
จะไปโปรดที่ไหน
with
จะแสดงธรรมเรื่องอะไร
mindfulness
พอ
and
แสดง
wisdom.
แล้ว ผลจะเป็นยังไง ใครจะได้
He
อะไร อะไรอย่างเงี้ย ท่านจะ
he
พิจาร
plan
ณารอบ
he
คอบ
contemplate on who he will
บาง
teach,
ที
what
ท่าน
he
ก็
will
รู้
teach, what results to
ว่า
expect.
ถ้าแสดงธรรม
Or
โปรดคนนี้แล้ว
sometimes
เนี่ย
he
จะเกิ
is
ดเอฟเฟกต์
also aware
กับ
that
อีกคนหนึ่ง
if he teaches
ใน
Dhamma
ทาง
to
ลบ
this person,
แต่ท่านเห็นว่าคนเนี้ย เขาถึงพร้อ
this
มแล้ว
person
จำเป็
will
นจะต้อง
create negative effect
ได้
on
บอกกล่าว
another
ตัดอะไร ท่าน
person.
ก็แสดงนะ
But if
ใส่
the
เอฟเฟกต์
person
อะไรเนี่ย มี รู้ แต่
will
ท่าน
get
ก็รู้ว่า
Dhamma
อันนี้
on
เป็น
the
กรรม
day,
ของเขาแล้ว
even if there is
เป็น
side
งี้นะ
effect on the
ผู้หญิงคนนั้น
person, the Buddha will still teach
ก็
because that is more
ไปเห็น
important.
รอยเท้าของพระ
For
พุทธเจ้า บอก
example,
ว่า นี่เป็นรอย
a
เท้าของ
lady
ค
saw
นที่
the
พ้นโลก
footprints
แล้ว อยาก
of
ย
the
กลูกสาวให้
Buddha. The
ก็พาลูกสาว
lady
มา
comes
เจอ
to
ท่าน
the
จะ
Buddha
ยกลูกสาวให้ ท่านบอก ท่านไม่เอา
and they want to give his daughter
แล้ว
for
ท่านจะส
marriage,
อนให้พ่อ
but
แม่
the
เขาได้ธรรมะ
Buddha said
ท่านบอก
no.
ว่า โอ๊ย
But the
สวยตร
Buddha
งไหน เนี่
wanted
ย
to teach the
ไม่
parents
ว่า
of
แต่
that
มือ
lady.
ถูกนะ เอาเท้าถูก ท่านยังไม่เอาเลย
So the Buddha
ร่า
said
ง
to
กา
the
ยท่านเป็นของ
lady
สกปรก
that
ไม่สวย
red
ไม่งาม
the body is
ไม่เที่ยง เป็น
ugly,
ทุกข์ เป็นอนัตตา
so
ไม่
ugly
เอา
that
ธรรมะ
I don't even
ลูก
want
สาวเจ็บ
to
ใจ
touch the feet
ผูกให้
with
เจ็บ
the
ทำ
feet
ไมเขา
the
ผูก
body
ให้
with
เจ็
the
บ แล้ว
feet.
ท่านยอมรับ
So
ตรงนี้ว่า
the
ทำให้เขาผูกให้
parent
เจ็บ มีกรรมนะ
the
มี
parent
กรรมที่จะ
achieved
ทำให้พ่อ
enlightenment,
แม่
but the girl who was being criticized as
ถูก
ugly
ประหาร ถูก
had
อะไร
vengeance in his heart, in
ท่า
her
น
heart,
ไม่ฝืนกรรมนะ แล้วท่านก็ไม่ได้คิด
which
บ
the
อกว่า
Buddha knew, but
อยู่
he prioritized
แก้
the
กรรมแก้
teaching
เวร
of the people
ไม่ท
who
ำ แก้
can
กรรมไม่มี
achieve enlightenment on the day. And the Buddha never said to
ฝันหรือยัง
try to kill your แก้กรรม
ใคร
is
ฝัน
to
ตามนิทานที่
reverse
หลวง
your
พ่อเล่า
karma, because the
ล
Buddha
องดู
said
สิ
that
กล้า
reversing
หน่อย
there's no
นั่ง
such
นิ่
thing
ง
as
ท่องอย่าง
reversing
นี้
karma. Who
อย่าง
can
น้อยก็รู้ว่า
understand?
ฝันน่ะ
Raise your
แล้ว
hand.
ทันทีที่รู้ว่าฝัน รู้สึกไหม
Good
จิตข
is
ณะ
like
นี้ตื่น
this.
ขึ้นมาแล้ว
And when you are aware of
จำน
you
วนมาก
are
เลย ขณะนี้
dreaming,
ตื่น
your
ขึ้น
mind
ตอนนี้
becomes awakened. Many of you
ย
are
กเว้นหนุ่ม
awakened
น้อยคนเนี้
now,
ย เรา
except
ก็
for
งงเต็
this
มที
little boy. He becomes even more
ไม่เคยเลย
confused. He's
วัน
now
นี้
shy.
ไม่มีตรวจการบ้านนี่ใช่ไหม
Today there is
งั้น
no
เทศไปก่อน
homework checking, so I can teach you a little bit more.
เมื่อกี้นี้ตัวอะไรหัวเราะ
Just now, what is
รู้สึกไหม ข
laughing?
ณะที่หัว
Can
เราะ
you
เมื่อกี้
see
นี้
that
ขาดสติหรือมีสติ
you were laughing? Were you mindful, or were you
ใค
wandering
รมีส
away
ติ
in
ย
your
กมือซิ
mind?
เมื่อกี้นี้
Who
ตัวอะไร
had
หัวเราะ มีไหม
mindfulness? Raise
มี
your
พี่วาย
hands.
ทำไม
พี่
พี่
วา
วาย
ย
มีสติ เพราะ
why
ผมบอก
does
ไม่ให้
she
ใส่ชื่อ
have
ลืมไปขอถอน
they say
ทำไม
that not to put in names.
หญิง
I
อา
remove
วุ
the
โส
names. Why would
นุ่ง
this
กางเกงลา
elderly
ยผู้นี้
lady in
บ
this
อกว่ามีส
striped
ติ
pants
หัวเราะ
have
แล้วมีสติ
mindfulness
บอก
when
เพ่งอยู่
laughing?
รู้
Because
สึกไหม
she
จิ
is
ตมัน
her mind
แข็ง
is
แกร่งดื้อๆ
fixated.
ตัวนี้เพ่งอยู่นะ
You are fixating your mind.
ก็ให้รู้ทัน
Be
จิตมัน
aware.
หลงก็รู้ จิตมัน
When the
เพ่งอยู่
mind
ก็รู้
wanders
จิ
away,
ต
be
เป็นยังไง
aware.
ก็
When the
รู้ไว้
mind fixates,
นั่น
be
แหละคือการ
aware.
ปฏิบัติธรรม
Whatever the mind is, be
บาง
aware.
คน
This
ทำเป็
is
นพยักหน้า
practice.
นี่
Some
มี
people
แม่ครัว
nod
ตัว
their
เล็กอยู่คนหนึง
head,
ฟังเขารู้เรื่องรู้เรื่อง
one
พ
maid
ยักหน้าแต่กำลังเพลิน
nodding
ในการ
her
พยัก
head
หน้า
but
อยู่
thinking about something
เนี่ย
else.
ฝึกนะ
Keep being
ฝึกในชีวิตจ
mindful.
ริง ๆ ให้ได้เลย
Keep being
คอยรู้
mindful
สึก
in
ตัว
your
นะ
daily
อ่าน
lives.
จิตอ่าน
Be
ใจตัวเองให้อ
mindful.
อกรู้สึก
Read
ไป
your own mind.
วันนี้หลวงพ่อเปิดโบสถ์ให้
Today
เข้าไป
I
ไหว้พระ
open the
แต่บอก
temple,
กติกานิดหนึ่งนะ อย่าเพี้
the
ยน
new
นะ
temple hall.
เข้าไป
But
ไหว้พระ
the condition
ยก
is
มือไหว้ก็ได้
you can don't spend too much time. Otherwise, people will step on you. You don't have to sit to pay homage to the Buddha statues. You can walk, don't sit too long, and don't touch. You can look, but don't touch the the paintings or the paintings. It is many millions. Or if the Buddha statue is beautiful, don't go touch. Some people try to put powder so that they can get digital, not digital, they can get some digits, numbers for lottery. Don't do that. Otherwise, some people may hit their head. So the board is the temple hall is not big, and also don't do any kind of puksek. It's like to perform some rites to make amulets sacred. This hall is not restricted from that. This hall is only for real practitioners. We, if anyone would like to, please be vigilant. If anyone wants to do any amulet ceremony there, please ask them to do something else. They perhaps can do it in the parking lot. So now you can go and see the temple hall.